This video is brought to you by my patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much for your generous support in funding this channel and keeping it up and running. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bloodhall, the show where we aim to defeat not one, not two, but three opponents in a game of multiplayer Commander. This is Season 19, Episode 4, final episode for Kolaghan, the Storm's Fury, playing Dragon Tribal. Now, taking a look at his opening hand, we've got Cabal Coffers, which is not going to be super great yet, but eventually it could do some pretty good work, and in spite of that, we've also got three other lands. So, let me see here. We get those three lands down, we can get down to Freak's Reclamation, eventually go for the Boltwing Marauder and Rage Reflection. Not a fast start, but I think this is definitely keepable. And if anything, not having a fast start here will allow our opponents to not be so afraid of us, and I think be afraid of some other opponents that are a little bit more scary than Kolaghan. Now, Kolaghan's not something to be trifled with. I'm just saying Kolaghan's not very popular, so people don't really think of it as a great commander. But I think Kolaghan's great. We're gonna go press no possible play, yield all, and let's go ahead and read off the commander here. Kolaghan, the Storm's Fury, is a 5-drop legendary 4/5 dragon with flying that says, whenever a dragon you control attacks, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. She's also got a dash ability for 5 mana, which means we can pay that spell for its dash cost, but if we do, it gains haste, and it's returned from the battlefield to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. We drew into the Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. What are the chances? Alright, we're going to go ahead and start off with the Mountain Valley. We're not going to be able to use this for mana. We have no 1-drops. I don't want to get down the Friction Reclamation out there just yet, just because it is kind of it can be a target. I'd rather use it right away when I get it down, so I'm going to wait on playing that out there. I think next turn, if we get down the Urborg, doesn't seem like that big of a threat, right? Cabal Coffers, the turn after that, might not be the smartest play. It doesn't actually net us any mana. I think the turn after that would be the best. So why don't we do this? Let's go for the Snow-Covered Mountain, Scavenger Grounds, Urborg, and then Cabal Coffers. We'll make that our 5th land drop. That will allow us to stay under the radar, but also do some good stuff later on. So hopefully we don't draw into too many more lands. I would like to find some, at least maybe some ramp or some card draw. Both of those would be pretty nice in a situation like this. Alright, so we've got Kolaghan. Again, we're doing Dragon Tribal here. I think the biggest reason, and I might have mentioned this in a previous episode, but I'm going to say it again. I think the biggest reason people aren't that excited about Kolaghan is because of the wording. Now, this could be worded one of two different ways. It could be worded this way, which is the way it is worded, or the ability could be worded, whenever one or more dragons you control attack, creatures you control get +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the number of dragons you control that are attacking. Now, that's certainly a more, I guess you could say, a wordier way to say it, but that wordiness has a benefit here in that it allows people to see exactly how powerful of a commander it is. We draw into a Fledgling Dragon, which is not bad. Definitely something I want to get down. Maybe on turn 4 when we get down the Urborg, we go for the Fledgling Dragon or something. Yeah, getting down Cabal Coffers earlier than that, it's not going to make it's not going to make a big difference, because especially if we're going to go for something that's double red, we're going to have to use 2 mana that are not red in order to generate the black mana from the Cabal Coffers. So, yeah, this is pretty good. We're going to go and yield until our next draw step, yield until here, my turn, because we're not doing anything else, so there's no point for us to tap out in case someone's got something like the Rishadan Cutthroat or the Cut Purse, Rishadan Foot Pad, something like that. There are a couple of creatures, not a whole lot, but a few creatures that will make you sacrifice something if you can't pay mana. And I'd like to be able to pay the mana if I need to. Alright, so Litha here is our first opponent. We've seen her quite a number of times. Good friend of mine. She invited me to her Discord as well. So I used to have a Discord back in the day, and I just wasn't doing a whole lot with it. It just felt pretty hard to keep up with everything that was going on. And, you know, a lot of people it wasn't really a very active place. That was my fault, honestly, is the inactivity of it. But I said, you know what? Everybody else has pretty good Discords. I'm going to let them focus on the good ones, and I'll go ahead and get rid of mine. But yeah, Litha invited me to her Discord, and I still talk every now and then in there. But she is playing Sisay Weatherlight Captain as her commander. 3 mana for a legendary 2/2 human soldier that gets +1/+1 for each color among other legendary permanents you control. It's also got the ability that they can pay 1 mana of each color, and she can search her library for a legendary permanent card with converted mana cost less than Sisay's power, put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So this, in a way, allows you to cheat mana cost if you can get something that costs more than 5 mana. Seems a little bit weird. How would you get something out there that's more than 5 mana? Pretty simple. You can put stuff onto Sisay that makes her bigger without having to rely on her first static ability here. So, for example, Blackblade Reforged goes onto Sisay. Also something that Sisay can search up. But it goes on to Sisay, and suddenly it's getting +1/+1 for all your lands that you control. That makes Sisay really huge. You can go and grab like Elish Norn and crazy Vorinclex you can grab out of the deck thanks to having a Black Blade Reforged onto Sisay. Now, I don't know if that's what Litha's planning on doing here. I've seen a lot of Sisay Weatherlight Captain decks that are Planeswalker-based decks. Could be that. Could be Legendary Creature-based. It could be something else. It could be something totally entirely different. Maybe Legendary Enchantment-based. I feel like Sisay, not a bad idea if you want to go for those Hondens from Kamigawa. Because I believe, if I remember correctly, those are Legendary as well. So having those Hondens out there should be pretty cool. Yeah, so that's our first opponent, Litha. Not exactly sure what's going on from her. I have a feeling it is going to be based on Legendary Creatures with this Mox Amber. Yes, it does work with Planeswalkers. Yeah, maybe it is kind of open-ended. But I do think it's going to be based on either Legendary Creatures or Planeswalkers here based off this Mox Amber. Not a huge hint, but it is a little hint in that direction. So that is our first opponent playing Sisay. Mike Guns is our second opponent. They are playing Tatyova Benthic Druid. Tatyova Benthic Druid is a 5-mana legendary 3/3 Merfolk Druid that says blah 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 blah. No, I'm kidding. It says whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life and draw a card. I'm just saying, we've seen Tatyova so many times. I don't know if I even have to read her off. I probably could just say her from memory. But yes, it is going to be a landfall-based deck, playing a lot of lands down, drawing cards, gaining life, ramping out with spells, and then, you know, triggering Tatyova multiple times. That's basically the way this deck works, is you just get so much ramp and card draw that people cannot keep up, thanks to Tatyova turning your ramp into also card draw. So it can get pretty nasty. This Child of Night going ahead and attacking Mike Guns here. Not a bad place to be, because I think Tatyova at the table is going to be the scariest here. So going to our turn here, we draw into a Territorial Hellkite. Let's go ahead and draw a card, or rather that's the card we drew. Let's go ahead and play that in the Scavenger Grounds. I don't think we'll need to use the ability here, but we can hold it up just in case that's an option. So I'll be ready to turn off my yields if I need to. 3 mana here. Next turn, we're going to go for the Urborg. Go for either the Fledgling Dragon or the Territorial Hellkite. I kind of like this one. It has a little bit more of a, packs more of a punch. And, you know, having the haste here is pretty cool too. Big Oof says, be right back. So yeah, Big Oof is our third opponent. Big Goof, rather. Not Big Oof. I don't know. Maybe I kind of want, I see what I want to see. But Big Goof here is playing Oloro Ageless Ascetic. So 6 mana for a legendary 4/5 giant soldier that says at the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 2 life. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 1 mana. If you do, draw a card, and each opponent loses 1 life. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Oloro Ageless Ascetic is in the command zone, you gain 2 life. Now that final ability is why Oloro, for a long time, before Atraxa came out, was the most popular commander. It did something from the command zone. You didn't have to cast it. You didn't have to do anything. You just were able to play Esper, whatever you wanted, and just gain 2 life every turn. Now, a lot of people think, gaining life, that's no big deal. But in an Oloro deck, it really adds up. I mean, they're already up to 50 life. That's a good chunk of life higher than everybody else here at the table. But Oloro can do all sorts of nastiness. I mean, you can do a Oloro combo-based build where suddenly opponents might see your combo coming down, but there's nothing that they can do about it because your life total is at 60, 70, 80 life, and Oloro here doesn't really care about that. Now, on their next turn, they could, for example, get down their own Ancient Tomb. I guess if they did Ancient Tomb, no, they would have enough, actually. If they got down an Ancient Tomb, they'd be up to 53, paying the 2 life here from the Ancient Tomb. 51, they can go ahead and get down with that 4 mana Aetherflux Reservoir and be able to take 1 person out right away. I would, you know, if they did something like that, that would be pretty nasty. I'm hoping that's not what happens here. They're going to go ahead and go for the Fertile Footsteps to search for a basic land put into their hand, then shuffle their library. An interesting card here. I think it's very interesting to be able to use it as a way to have another card in the mana base, but also have a card that can be pretty big if you've got enough lands for 7 mana. So it all depends if you want to have another 7-drop creature, basically for free, as a land. Alright, they're going to go for an Explorer effect, drawing a card, being able to play an additional land here. Playing down the Flooded Grove. Now, this is the type of card, okay, Field of Ruin as well. Luckily, they don't have enough mana to activate it yet. Even if they did, though, I wouldn't mind them, you know, targeting our Badlands. That's not a problem. We'll still hit the mountains because we've got Urborg coming down this turn. Alright, what do they have available to them? Are they just tapping out to pass turn? Looks like that's what they're doing. Nope, they're going to go for a Hangerback Walker, X equals 1. Alright, no big deal. Alright, Big Goof says that they're back, and yeah, it's going to go to their turn. So, yes, this is Beanstalk Giant owned by Mike Guns, and I'll kind of keep that in this vicinity so I can remember. They're going to go ahead and gain 3 life, going up to 53 here. we're going to go down for the Urborg and then get down the Territorial Hellkite. Now, if it attacks somebody, you know what? We'll say, you know, I didn't want to attack you, but it has to, right? It has to attack, so I'm sorry. I just want to have a 4-drop dragon. All right, let's see what Big Goof does here. They're going to attack with the Child of Alara. Attacking over at us. We'll take the 2. No big deal. Going down to 38. They're going to go up to 55 as a result. They did attack my guns in the last turn, making their Ancient Tomb just a little bit closer to killing them, which is pretty good. All right, we draw into Opportunistic Dragon. So we can target a human or an artifact. Gain control of that permanent. It loses all abilities, and it can't attack or block. So it's just going to be taking it hostage. You know, we could take Sisay hostage, but I kind of want her help against my guns here, so I'm not going to go for that. And even the Territorial Hellkite, it could randomly attack Litha. It does make more sense than the Fledgling, obviously, though, because we don't have the Threshold. We're anywhere close, really, to Threshold, either. Big Goof says no lands. Well, that makes us a little bit less afraid of Oloro, but we do want their help against this Tatyova deck. Let's go ahead and go for the Territorial Hellkite. Red, red, and then the 2 mana here from these 2. We'll get down that, and I'm hoping we attack Might Guns. There's a 1/3 chance that we do. So I think that's worth taking the risk here. And even if we attack Big Goof, that's also okay. I think we've got a 2/3 chance of this working out in our favor. I think attacking Litha here, hopefully attacking... well, I won't even say anything here, because we've got a Territorial Hellkite. It's got flying, it's got haste. We can just attack and see who it targets. Who does it target? We'll see here in the chat. I guess we'll also see on the ability here. It'll tell us who we're going to have to hit. Final opponent here, Big Goof, playing Oloro. I think the deck I'm anticipating from them is going to be a life gain based deck. So actually one of the few decks that would want to cast Oloro and be able to use that ability to draw extra cards. Child of Night and Fountain of Renewal are both ways they can gain more life on their turn besides Oloro. So it's got to attack my gun, so it worked out pretty well for us. We're attacking exactly who we wanted to. Their Hangerback Walker is still around, so they don't have that Thopter blocker. We're going to go and attack my guns and say okay here. Passing over to our next turn, or rather passing over to Litha. Let's see what she does. After this, we can go for the Cabal Coffers. We're going to have 5 Swamps. So that's going to be 1, 2, paying for the Cabal Coffers, 5 mana, plus another 2 red. So 7 mana. What can we do with 7 mana? Well, you know, not a whole lot, honestly. We could go for the Boltwing Marauder and hold up some mana. But even then, I mean, that's not a great use of our mana here. We can go for Boltwing Marauder and then the Phyrexian Reclamation. That's also not too bad. It gives us a way to give our creatures haste. Oh, I'm sorry, no it doesn't. It just gives them a +2/+0. Well, that's not bad either. I mean, we've got the Boltwing Marauder. We can use that in lots of really interesting ways, I think. There's not a good way for us to get additional mana just because of the way the Cabal Coffers works. That's going to be our land drop. And then we'll go for, like if we were to go for the Opportunistic Dragon, we only have 3 mana left over. So maybe what we do, gain control of that permanent. It loses all abilities and can't attack or block. This one has a fire breathing ability. We're going to use all the red mana to be able to cast it, though. So I guess, you know what, we might just go for the Phyrexian Reclamation and the Opportunistic Dragon or something. In terms of creatures, the only human out there is Sisay. In terms of artifacts, you know, I guess the Fountain of Renewal is not, you know, too bad to hit. I guess Hangerback Walker, hold on a second. Hangerback Walker, gain control of that permanent. It loses all abilities. Yeah, I guess that's not that great to gain control of. It does get rid of their way to make a flying blocker for our dragons, though. It's not too bad. Maybe we do go for that. We go for the Opportunistic Dragon and play it on the Phyrexian Reclamation. I know I mentioned I don't want to, you know, play it out too early. You know, maybe actually I still feel that way. Maybe I still don't want to play it out. So maybe we'll just get down the Cabal Coffers and not actually tap it for mana. Big Goof is saying question mark. Let's say Mike Gunn's here deciding whether or not they're going to block. They don't have any blockers available. So what's happening here? They're going to go down to 28, I would assume. What's going on? I say, hey, what's going on? If you get that reference, I am very sorry that you do know what I'm talking about. Alright, so they've got that Beanstalk Giant available to them as well. I'm still afraid of them. I mean, they're going to have life gain available from their commander as well. So getting them lower in life total is going to be pretty good for us, too. It says that Mike Guns is disconnected. We're just going to go ahead and wait for Mike Guns. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and say I wish you all a very happy new year. 2020 is finally here. 2019 is gone and it is over, thankfully. But 2020 is here to stay for at least 364 days from this point. And yeah, I'm excited. I think 2020 is going to be a great year. Not just because I'm in optometry school and so 2020 is going to be my year of dad jokes. But because it's the year of the Merit Lage, the only 2020 in Magic. So it is the year of Merit Lage here. As for the channel, you know, a lot of things pretty interesting coming up, I would say. There's a lot of cool things happening down the line. For example, I mean, I'm still doing some new shows, some of the shows that I introduced last December. Still doing them. I mean, Desolate Lighthouse, something I did earlier today. I'm hoping to have this video up by the December 2nd, the nighttime. Give it time. You can reconnect sometimes. Yes, I would like to. Hopefully, they do come back. They do come back. If they don't, then we'll go ahead and end this recording. Just because when it comes to my content, I don't want to have anybody conceding early on in the game. Just because that does change things up very drastically. And as a result, I'd like to have games where there's no anticlimactic ending where someone concedes, but it also doesn't shift the balance of power, where one person who seemed to be a threat no longer is there to be a threat. And so, all right, so Mike Guns does reconnect, and they do come back. Very awesome. So yeah, like I said about my channel, I don't want to have games where people concede. I don't want to have games where there's a massive bug, and so I do try to avoid that as much as I can. So now on to Litha's turn, and while she's doing what she needs to do, I'll go ahead and talk about, stuff with my channel. I did a Dalekos deck tech earlier today. Like I said, I'm hoping to have... Big Goof says, I hate quitters. It just changes the game. It changes the game so much. So next turn, we're going to be playing down that Cabal Coffers. We technically could get out our commander with haste. You know, that's not too bad of an idea. But even then... Like, am I that afraid of Mike Guns? Honestly, yeah. I mean, if Tatyova can get to the end game, that changes things so badly for us. I mean, it can really... Ooh, Rings of Bright Hearth. This is going to allow Litha to double up on that ability from the Sisay. If they've got fetch lands as well, you know, she can fetch a land and then pay 2 mana to copy that ability. So I've seen Rings of Bright Hearth almost seeming like, if you've got enough fetch lands in a deck, this could... give you a way to get 2 lands from a fetch land, just paying 2 mana. So it turns your, Polluted Delta, Windswept Heath, whatever. It turns it into a way to, get 2 lands. So better than a Krosan Verge, for example. Krosan Verge, you don't have to pay the life. Ooh, Time Twister. Well, that definitely hurts us here. We've got the Cabal Coffers going away. Next hand, not quite so great. We've got the Oversold Cemetery, and a couple of those cards we saw in our previous hand. Actually, 3 of them. What are the chances? 3 of those cards in our previous hand that we still have, and none of them were the card that we wanted the most, which was Cabal Coffers. All right, I quit this game online for a long time because of that, says Big Goof. Yeah, it's important to ask those that join a game to not quit. It doesn't work all the time. It doesn't work every time. Let me just put this here. 60% of the time, it works every time. It works every time. Again, another quote that if you know, I feel sorry for you that you know what that's from. All right, we've got the Terramorphic Expanse. Yeah, that Time Twister really hurt us here. We no longer have that 7 mana, but we weren't really doing anything with that 7 mana anyways. With that Terramorphic Expanse, we can get down one of our 4-drops and activate it, or we can use it to play out our commander. That's not bad. I mean, the commander doesn't need to attack herself in order to trigger, so the Territorial Hellkite would be a 7/5 attacking somewhere at random. But that Tatyova Benthic Druid, that actually might make me want to attack them for 6 damage with our commander. Yeah, because that's not going to be a flyer here able to block. Again, we don't have that Cabal Coffers to go for something like Balefire Dragon. Udvara Hellkite will be pretty good later on as well. Oversold Cemetery, another way for us to have some recursion. They're going to go and attack with that 5 damage over at Big Goof to bring them down to 50. Now, this actually is pretty good for us. If I were in their situation, I would be afraid of the Dragon aggro deck more than anybody else. So the fact that they're attacking Big Goof here lets us kind of use this next turn as a way to set up so that on the turn following, we can kind of go all, you know, guns to the wall against Might Guns. All right, so Fountain of Renewal and Oloro Ageless Ascetic going to bring them back up to 53. So not a bad place for them to be. They've got that 2-1 attacker. If they decide to attack Might Guns, I have a feeling they're just going to block with the Tatyova. We've got no blockers, so they might be attacking us here, bringing us down to 36 just so they can gain some life. I'm back for now. We will see. All right, a Johnny's Welcome here. That's going to get them some more life when their creatures enter the battlefield. Still that Beanstalk Giant for Might Guns. Bitter Blossom coming down for Big Goof. This is the cool little art from the Bitter Blossom Dreams, I think is the name of that card, or the name of that secret lair. Yeah, so they've got some pretty cool stuff. Speaking of which, I still have some leftover stuff from the Kaleidoscope Killers. So I will post this on Twitter, this video especially, with anybody who has not yet sent me the message back. It will be like their final chance to get on their hands on the card that they won. So, what is this? Oh, I guess I got a new promo land. Sometimes when you're on Magic Online, you just have these free promos that you get just for playing the game, which is kind of cool. It's not as many free cards as Magic Arena, of course, but ooh, Dowsing Dagger. Well, this one, you know what? I can't say no to that one. We can flip it into a land, and then once it flips, oh my gosh, this would be actually pretty cool. Once it flips, we have 4 mana thanks to our Terramorphic Expanse. We can get down one of our other 4-drops after that. You know what? That sounds pretty great to us. And we've got a Mana Crypt here. We can at least take a little bit of a mana away from the Tatyova player. I think that should be helpful for us. So let's go and start off with the Dowsing Dagger, paying that out, see if it resolves, because if it doesn't resolve, then we have other things that we are interested in doing. Dowsing Dagger coming down. Then we're going to go and equip it over to the Territorial Hellkite and go and attack somewhere. We're going to go and create some token blockers for... You know what? Big Goof is gaining life, so I don't really want them to have it. I'm going to go and give it to Litha, because I feel like I need their help more than anything at this point. So let's go and do that. Thank you, I needed that. We're going to go ahead and equip the Dowsing Dagger to the Territorial Hellkite, paying 1 mana here and 1 mana from the Badlands. See if anybody has a way to remove the Territorial Hellkite in response. I mean, Might Guns does have mana open, but they know that we're not attacking them, so it's going to go somewhere else. So let's go ahead and attack with the Territorial Hellkite somewhere at random. Let's see where it's going. It is going to be going over to Big Goof. Yeah, like I said, I can't choose this. I have no choice in the matter. So we're going to attack Big Goof for 8 in the air. So got to attack. We'll say sorry here. Sorry. And we're attacking them for 8. That's going to bring them down to 45, which is also not bad for us. I mean, this is something we would like to see. Flipping our Dowsing Dagger this early on is going to be pretty good for us as well. Next thing that we can do is we can go for the Opportunistic Dragon. And I think here, getting control of the Mana Crypt might actually be pretty helpful. This allows us to, you know, prevent them from having extra mana here to keep doing craziness with Tatyova. Which, I guess is not going to be that big of a deal. Yes, we will transform this. We'll say yes. Maybe we choose the Hangerback Walker? I don't know. That can't be right, right? There's no way that's the right play here. Yeah, let's go ahead and play that on the Terramorphic Expanse. No reason for us to cast the Fledgling Dragon. I guess we're going to go for the Opportunistic Dragon here. Let's go ahead and go triple red and then a black from the Terramorphic Expanse. And, yeah, I mean, we get some blockers. We get rid of the blockers here from that Thopter. Choose target human or artifact an opponent controls. It loses all abilities and it can't attack or block. Yeah, I mean, there's not really any... Like, anything that we steal here doesn't do anything. It's just going to be another artifact out there. So, or another creature out there. You know what? Let's gain control of the Hangerback Walker. I feel like getting rid of all creatures is much more likely than getting rid of all artifacts. And this is not a human, unfortunately. Yeah, let's see if they counter it. I mean, they definitely have the options to counter it here. And it looks like that's what they're going to go for. They're going to go for a counterspell, and that's fine with us. I mean, it does get rid of a creature on the battlefield for us, which is not great. Yeah, counterspell, okay. But at least it gets rid of that out of the hand, so hopefully one of our other opponents can do some craziness. Next turn, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. That allows us to go for the Udvara Hellkite and attack with the Territorial Hellkite and gain another dragon, which is not bad. After that, we can maybe go for our commander, and Rage Reflection later on would be pretty nice. Yeah, we've got some options here. Oversold Cemetery, not going to be very useful yet. Let's see what Lith decides to go for. We've got 3 mana in the mana pool. None of it, the colors cannot be used for the ability here on Sisay Weatherlight Captain, but it can be used for the Rings of Brighthearth. So let's see if she has 1 additional mana. She needs some green. Nope, she's going to go for the Hammer of Nazan. So this can auto-equip to the Sisay Weatherlight Captain. Do they have another counterspell here? Looks like they do. Looks like they've got something else here for them to go for. What is coming down? Another counterspell. They're going to go for a Field of Ruin on our Lotus Veil, or sorry, rather the Lost Veil, which is not great for us. It allows us to find a mountain here. So, yeah, I guess that's not too great for us. It does allow them to draw a card and gain a life, which is also pretty bad. Big Goof says rude. Hey, man. I mean, I know where I wish the Territorial Hellkite will go next turn. Territorial Hellkite will go next turn. We're going to go ahead and grab a snow-covered mountain here. You might be wondering, why am I playing with snow-covered mountains? What's the point? Why am I going for that here? The reason is there's a dragon in the deck called Rhymescale Dragon. It's got an ability that requires snow-covered mana, but it's a pretty good one. You pay 3 mana, tap target creature, and put an ice counter on it, and then creatures with ice counters don't untap during their controller's untap step. So that's a pretty good dragon that we have that we can actually use to also make someone's creatures stop untapping. They're going to go ahead and trigger the Tatyova, go up to 5 life here. The Hammer of Nazan can go onto their Sisay Weatherlight Captain, giving it indestructible. It went first. Yeah, that was pretty happy about that. Pretty happy about that. So we've got our mountain here. We're going to go and untap until our next draw step. Nothing for us to use our 1 red mana on. Do they have something they want to use on the Hammer of Nazan? Maybe they were trying to draw into some answer to the Hammer of Nazan. Maybe that's what they were going for. They've got a blue mana in the mana pool. It looks like they might have tapped incorrectly here. Let's see if that's what happens. Do they have an answer to be able to go for the Hammer of Nazan? Looks like they might not. They are up to 6 cards and 28 life, so I'm hoping the Hammer of Nazan coming down and attacking on that Sisay Weatherlight Captain might allow them to attack my guns. Now, if I were them, I'd probably just block with that Hangerback Walker, make a 1/1 flyer that they can now block our dragons with, which is not great. Big Goof says the same thing, that they're pretty happy about the Territorial Hellkite going over at my guns early on. What do they have here available? Another way to... looks like they've got Dovin Hand of Control. Prevent all damage that will be dealt to and dealt by target permanent and opponent controls. So, they can... what do they want to do here? What would they target? Maybe the Tatyova. That's not really attacking anyways. They're going to target our Territorial Hellkite. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, it does look to be a Planeswalker-based deck, unfortunately. Is this a legendary? Yeah, this is a legendary artifact. That might actually make Sisay Weatherlight Captain better than the Sliver Hive Lord, because now you've got a commander that can tutor up a way to give itself indestructible. It's not too bad, but it does have a way to get rid of itself. If you can get rid of artifacts, you can get rid of the commander, which I guess is not that great anymore. So they're going to be preventing all the damage being dealt to and dealt by the Territorial Hellkite, so basically doing nothing unless we get down the Balefire Dragon, which... I don't think we have the mana for it now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So next turn we're going to have a... if we draw into a lane, we'll have 7 mana to go for with the Balefire Dragon. But even then, that's not going to be the Utvara Hellkite. So we're pretty far away from finding that one. They're going to go and attack with the 6/4 over at Big Goof. Let's see if Big Goof decides to chump block with the Child of Night. I'm sure they're going for this because they don't want to see that 1/1 flyer being created here. We don't have enough mana to go for the Utvara Hellkite, or I guess, do we go for the Balefire Dragon anyways? I mean, maybe. Big Goof says, why me? And I'm not even sure either. They're going to go down to 39, so that does put them back in the same range as everybody else. Mike Guns here, they've got 2 mana. It looks like they're just tapping out to go to their next turn. Or do they actually use the mana on something? Do they use it on the Hangerback Walker, putting another counter there? That might be another option. So, yeah, with our Opportunistic Dragon and the Dowsing Dagger both being destroyed or countered here, it's actually pretty rough for us. Now we're pretty far behind, but we've got to band together and take out Mike Guns. I think we ought to band together and take out Tatyova before it's too late. It's too late. And even if this is a Super Friends deck, this is also going to be another type of card that's going to be, or type of deck that you want to take out before it's too late. So yeah, with this one, it doesn't actually have the ability to attack Planeswalkers, which makes it kind of a weird, like a weird dragon where you can't use it in that way. Next turn, we can either attack Litha or Mike Guns. I'm hoping that we attack Litha so we can attack Mike Guns later on afterwards. So they're going to go and gain a life, going up to 26. They play a land, draw a card, and now they're up to 7 cards in hand. So even with all the craziness that's going on their battlefield, they still have 7 cards in hand. So they're going to go and play down another land here, the Castle Vantress. This one they can use to scry. I don't know if they're actually interested in going for that scry ability, but if they have nothing else to use them in on, that is something that they can go for. I think on our next turn, I'll be interested in going for, let's see, 7 mana. We could go for Rage Reflection, but it doesn't do anything. I guess we can dash out our commander and that way attack Mike Guns. That's at least something. Is Dovin Bond interested in using that ability on us again? Maybe. But even then, I feel like that Artifact, Instant, and Sorcery spells might be more important to Litha here than anything else. The static ability on Dovin. Or as good old Saffron Olive says, Donovan Bane, Hand of Control. Alright, so they've got the Multani Yavimai's Avatar coming down. This one means we probably need to find a way to make a blocker pretty soon. Fledgling Dragon doesn't seem too bad. At the very least, it's a chump blocker. It's also got Reach, though. That's another issue. Now we've got a Reach creature out there. Uh-oh, Reach. Uh-oh, Reach. We'll just say it that way. If someone can get rid of the Multani, I have no issues attacking Mike Guns for some more damage. If we get down our commander this turn without haste, this turns into a 7-5. Again, it's going to have all the damage being prevented, though. Yeah, I'm hoping we draw into something else that's pretty good. We can use that Terramorphic Expanse to get another mountain, at least, which I guess is not too bad. What else do we see here from our opponents? Once we get enough creatures in the graveyard, Oversold Cemetery will be online, so we can use that to get back some of our creatures. Big Goof says it might be too late. It definitely might be. They're going to attack with the 5-5 over at Big Goof, 3-3 over at us. That is commander damage, but we're not doing any life gain, so I think if I were them, I would probably attack the other way around. This 6 loyalty, this is from Sisay. Okay, we're going to have no blockers. We're not going to block the 3-3 coming our way. Going down to 35, putting Big Goof down to 34. So now Litha is at the highest life total here. So we'll see. I mean, right now this does look pretty bad for us because Litha has Planeswalkers that are going to be pretty hard for us to hit. And Mike Guns is doing a lot of card draw and ramping. So this might be out of our hand at this point. We are going to try to put our best foot forward. What's going to be our best way to win here? What's going to be our best out? I think Balefire Dragon is going to be something. At least this allows us to deal damage to creatures. Alright, Ajani's Welcome is going to put them up to 37. They're now at the tied life total with Litha. We're at the second lowest, so not, I guess, too bad. I would like to see more damage being dealt to Mike Guns before they start gaining enough life to get back out of their hole that they've put themselves into. Alright, Dismal Backwater going to get Big Goof another point of life gain. They're back up to 5 lands. They did miss, I think, 1 land drop by this point. So they do have enough lands now. Not enough to cast their commander, of course, but eventually they will have enough. Tainted Field. You don't see this all too often, but it is pretty good. It is a pretty good land. We are helping this opponent with black mana. Also helping Litha, but I think they need more help with green mana. They only have 1 source of green currently, and that's the Talisman of Unity. So that might be something that she wants to have sooner rather than later. I think by our next turn, we'll see what we have available to us. But I have a feeling it's going to be mostly whatever we draw. Whatever we draw is going to be what we'll play. If not, you know, maybe I go for our commander without haste and just go for this Terramorphic Expanse to grab a Snow-Covered Mountain. That might be what I go for. We draw into a Steel Hellkite. You know, this was not too bad. At least it gets rid of... we can get rid of 0 drops or something. I mean, if we get around the Multani. Can we pump this up enough to make it be able to destroy the Multani? I don't think so. I don't see that really happening. And I'm not interested in getting rid of anything else from somebody else, so Udvar Hellkite, I like that one. Rage Reflection's not bad. Fledgling Dragon, though, it just provides us a blocker, which I think is not too bad. We're going to go and go to our main phase here. Play it on the Fledgling Dragon, paying a red here. Well, let's do it this way. Red from the Badlands, red from the snow-covered mountain. And then Urborg, and yeah, let's go for the Scavenge Grounds, because we're not going to be able to use it anyways. We'll get down the Fledgling Dragon here. And then we don't have to go for the activation off the Terramorphic Expanse right away. We can hold up something that's like black-black or black-red. So there are some options for us here. We're going to go and go to the Territorial Hellkite. Yep, we're going to get to always yield to this ability because we don't really need to respond to it ever. Let's see who gets chosen here. Who is the chosen one? It is Mike Guns, unfortunately. So I guess in a way this is nice, though, that we get to keep our Territorial Hellkite. The big reach creature doesn't actually kill our creature because it's, you know, all the damage being dealt to it is also prevented here. So they're going to go ahead and block. I don't think they really see the fact that they don't need to. So let's see what happens here. No damage, just going to give themselves a high five. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we're just going to keep yielding here. Again, we're representing something with our Terramorphic Expanse, but it doesn't actually mean anything. We're just going to be yielding until Big Goof's end step. And then we're going to use that Terramorphic Expanse. Unless someone gets down something like even Mind Sensor or Stranglehold or something like that, we'll go for it in response. They're going to go ahead and choose the Dovin Bond on the Multani. And it looks like they have the option to go for the Rings of Brighthearth to double up on it. What do they decide to do? Do they decide to hit the Hangerback Walker too? That could be kind of cool. If I were them, I'd like to see that Wayward Swordtooth being targeted here. Fledgling Dragon does not have the threshold online. It would turn into a 5/5 for 4 mana, which is not bad. Honestly, not a bad rate of exchange for that mana to power ratio. So they're going to go ahead and target the Dovin Bond onto the Yavamaya's Avatar. Rings of Brighthearth. Let's see if they pay the 2 mana. Does she pay the 2 mana here in order to get... Nope, she does not. Alright, she does not pay the 2 mana. Does Mox Amber tap for green? No, it can only tap for white currently. They only can tap for white because that's the only... Oh, I guess they can tap for blue too. White or blue. They're going to go and play down the Talisman of Impulse, another source of green mana. They did use their Talisman of Unity to go for, though, which they've got something for double green. That's not going to be exactly helpful here. Especially that they could have gone for another Talisman. Okay, lots of Talismans here for Litha. I was going to say, especially that they could have gone for the ability off of Sisay and then double up on it. That would have been pretty sweet here. Wow, a lot of talismans. 3 talismans in a row. That's a lot of talismans. That's a lot of talismans. Talismans. Yeah. And another one. Wow, that is... She might be running all 10 of them and just happened to draw into, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 this game? That is a lot. I have all 10 in here. Alright, I was right about her. She does have all 10 in the deck. She's got 3 mana available, red or white with white, blue, blue, red. So anything Jeskai here she can cast. Black or green, that's going to be a no-go. She has got nothing else she wants to play. She's down to 3 cards in hand. So yeah, you can see how this, even though she generates a lot of mana by doing this, she lost a lot of cards in hand. So that's why I don't really like Talismans all that much. Because it's not that high of a card slot to mana production ratio. And that's why I feel like it's much better to go for cards that can produce 2 or more mana. I don't have any that I've drawn into right now, which is kind of weird. But we'll eventually draw into our card drawing ramp. Just not seeing it yet this game. So let's see, where does this 6/4 go ahead and attack? Not attacking at all. Not a bad place to be. I feel like if you want to prevent damage being dealt to you, plants are going to be dying at some point. So you might as well, keep an indestructible blocker as well. Let's see what happens from here. They're going to put another counter onto the Hangerback Walker. Okay. Now, if we can get around this Multani, our Steel Hellkite attacking would allow us to pay 0, destroying the Hangerback Walker and the Mana Crypt, and then eventually we can use the Steel Hellkite to destroy those Thopters again. Growth Spiral coming down for Mike Guns. That allows them to draw an additional card, play an additional land. So Reliquary Tower down for them now, so now they have no maximum hand size. Not exactly what you'd like to see from a Tatyova deck. I hope some of you have some options of what to do, what to go for. So yes, the Multani will be preventing all the damage until Litha's next turn. So even even Big Oof attacking, they're not gonna be able to get in with that Fairy Rogue either. So Mana Crypt here, I hope they lose the flip. They do lose the flip. Down to 25. I don't know what we'll go for here. I mean, with that Multani out on the battlefield, we really can't afford to attack over at Might Guns, even as much as we would like to. The fact that Territorial Hellkite attacked them last turn, we don't have the ability to attack them again. Steve coming down for Might Guns. That's another way to draw a card here. Yeah, and gain a life, so this might be snowballing out of control. We have to play to our outs, people. Even then, I mean, this 12-12 coming down, what do we have as an option? What can we do about that? If we get down the Rage Reflection, let me see here. We get down the Rage Reflection this coming turn. Then the turn after that, we can, if we get enough Threshold, we can go for Fledgling and pump it up to, let's see, it's going to be 5 plus 4, so 9. We can double strike in, so they'd have to chump with their Multani if they even want to do that, but it's also got a way to recur itself. Let me see here. Return 2 lands you control to the other hand, and return Multani from your graveyard to your hand. Yeah, it's got self-recursion, so even after this goes away, we've got to use that Scavenger Grounds to exile it, which would turn off our Threshold. So we're kind of in a rough spot here. What's attacking us? So there's going to be a 5-5 attacking over at Dovin Bond. 3-3 coming over at us. We're still not going to block here. I don't like going up to 6 commander damage, but I don't really have a choice. I'd like to keep my Fledgling Dragon out there. Now, next turn, we can dash out our commander, which doesn't help us because of that Multani. I'm hoping we'll draw into some removal soon. Even a board wipe, I would definitely go for a board wipe here. I might attack first and then go for a board wipe, but maybe I'll go for a board wipe and then activate the Scavenger Grounds to exile the graveyards. That way we don't see the Multani. But see, they've got enough mana to go for it at instant speed. So yeah, this is tough. This is definitely tough. We'll go ahead and take the 3. Not going to be able to kill the Dovin Bond here, the Dovin Hand of Control. I'm getting a headache from this, from where we're at right now. Yeah, Tatyova is a pretty rough card to see. You know what? If during the next wave of the ban list, if Tatyova got banned, I would not be surprised, because it is very hard to deal with Tatyova as a commander, because you have to have the spot removal to deal with it. All right, so that Wayward Swordtooth is gone now. They no longer have that exploration effect. I don't know if they were thinking that this was a 4/4 or what was going on. Maybe they forgot it has indestructible. I don't know what they were thinking here. Yeah, if I were them, I would have just attacked maybe with the commander their way too, because they have enough mana to replay it. Mystical Tutor for Big Oof. That's fine with us. We have no way to respond to that. Let's see what happens here as a result. What do they grab? They're going to reveal it. So this could be a board wipe. It could be spot removal. What would I hope that they grab? I would hope that they grab something like Merciless Eviction. That would be pretty sweet. Merciless Eviction? That'd be great. That'd be great here. We'll go ahead and say that. That'd be great here. So, Mystical Tutor, they're going to go for a Knowledge Exploitation. So, we don't have the Merciless Eviction in our deck. Looks like they're interested in going for this, targeting somebody else. In our deck, what do we have as in terms of instants and sorceries? We can go ahead and tell them. So, we're going to go ahead and display this by the list view. Alright, let's go ahead and go here. This is Might Gun's end step. Nothing to do in this particular point. Let's go ahead and choose to search it by type. And instants and sorceries, we've got Bedevil, Chaos Warp, Murderous Cut, Sarkon's Triumph, Smelt, Vampiric Tutor. And then sorcery-wise, we've got Blasphemous Act, Crux of Fate, Decree of Pain, Demonic Tutor, Gamble, Kindred Charge, Patriarch's Bidding. So, Decree of Pain's not bad for them. If they target us, that's probably going to be what they choose. Nothing for us to have that can exile, though. Blasphemous Act, yeah, none of these cards actually exile from the graveyard. So we're going to always yield to Bitter Blossom, to the Fountain of Renewal, and to the Oloro. We're going to go ahead and yield. Well, actually, no, it's not yield until the end step, because they could have an Aven Mind Sensor here. It is definitely a possibility. Knowledge Exploitation. This one, they get to have, they can cast it for 4 mana if they deal damage with the Rogue. Now, they do have a Rogue out right now. So they could attack with this Fairy Rogue over at Litha, deal damage to them, and then cast this for 4 mana. That's not too bad. But who do they pick? That's the biggest question. Do they pick Mike Guns? That's probably not a bad idea, honestly. In this situation, do I have one? I'm not white. So I can't play it even if I wanted to. And maybe Big Goof doesn't have one. Maybe that's why they went for the knowledge exploitation here. They could try to hit Litha and see if Litha has a Merciless Eviction. Again, that'd be pretty great in a position like this because that gets rid of the important cards off the battlefield. We don't have to worry about them anymore, which is exactly where I'd like to be. We still get to keep that opportunistic dragon in the graveyard so that eventually when we have our oversold cemetery, we can still use that to great effect. So let's see what happens here. What goes from this point on? Yeah, exiling all creatures would be fantastic in a position like this. Again, Mike Gun's still in a great position though because they can just simply recast their commander and then play out some more lands and do some more stuff. They probably have plenty of counter spells as well, so might not even be, might not even happen here at this point. On our next turn, again, I'd like to use my commander, but with that Multani out there, we can't do it. They're going to go and attack with a 1/1 over at Litha. I guess they could have attacked us, but maybe they more interested in hitting Litha here to get that knowledge exploitation to resolve. Now, Litha is also holding a counterspell mana. The question is, does she actually have that mana available to her? Who knows? I forgot that the Urborg's out there giving her a way to cast black spells. So when I said earlier that she can't cast black or green spells, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I apologize from the bottom of my heart. The Terramorphic Expanse here at the end step, we are going to use that and grab, like I said, a mountain. I know it's a little bit risky in case the Urborg goes away, but I feel like it's going to be more risky for us to lose out on having the red mana that we could eventually need. Like, let's say we draw into an Urborg later on. Having that, draw into a Cabal Coffers, rather. We draw into a Cabal Coffers later on. We would love to have as much red mana as possible. So that's pretty important for us to play that out. I think if we find something like that, I wouldn't mind going for Rage Reflection and dash out my commander. If we have enough mana and we find a Cabal Coffers next turn. Would be pretty nice. I don't know how likely it is, but it would be pretty nice. So I would love to go for something like that because that would allow us to, even, if they block something with Multani, we deal a lot of damage to them, with other creatures. That would be, let's see, the Fledgling Dragon getting 3+1+, so that's 10 damage to them. Not a whole lot, but at least it's something, right? At least it's something. What's happening here? The 1 damage going over at Litha. Big Goof says hello. I guess they're waiting on Litha to do something here. What does Litha go for? We'll see if she's got something up her sleeve. She might be deciding if she wants to go for something or not. Yeah, I think, honestly, at this point, we might not have enough use to go for, hurting big Mike Guns for a while here, unfortunately. Let's see if this knowledge exploitation even resolves. I mean, that's another reason that Tatyova is just so good. If it were mono green, it would be a lot more balanced, but having that blue available as well, that makes it a lot harder to... Litha says, I thought I had time for the restroom, LOL. No problem. I mean, we're all humans, right? I think. I'm hoping. Maybe we'll be playing against some lizard people, either now or at some point in the future. Alright, so Big Goof's going to go ahead and tap 4 mana, casting the knowledge exploitation. I have nothing to respond to that. So... let's see what if Litha has something. Maybe they're holding up a counter spell. They did target Litha with this spell, so I guess they're hoping to find a Merciless Eviction here. Let's see what is found. What do they find? Would be another great thing to see. Maybe cast this card without paying its mana cost. Maybe there's something else that could be pretty good. I could even see them going for... Let's see, Litha could be having something like Ruination or from the Ashes. There's also, in her colors, there's also the Great Aurora. There's other cards like that as well. Man, what is it? The Great Aurora and Great Vitriol. Something about Great Vitriol. Wave of Vitriol, that's the card. So there are a couple of options available to her. I don't think she's playing any of them, but if any of those are being played, I mean, that'd be great for us against Mike Guns. Although I guess... They probably have plenty of basics in the deck, so them getting 5 new cards, yeah, never mind. Those are probably the worst options, except for Ruination. Ruination's not bad. We would be down to 3 lands, though, which is kind of a problem. And I don't think Lith is playing it anyways. Looks like Mike Gunn says, yeah, you know what, that's cool resolving. They might have an answer for whatever is found, though. That might be the bigger issue here. I think in this situation, Mike Guns is probably doing the right thing, because whatever they find here, they could, Litha could draw into it next turn, so if they just counter the Knowledge Exploitation. So I think they are doing the right thing by, countering it, but it does give us an opportunity, if anybody has a way to recur instants from the graveyard, instants or sorceries, that could allow us to have a little bit more consistency here by having it in a zone that's visible, as opposed to being in the library where it's hidden. So let's see who we're waiting on. We're waiting on Big Goof. I guess now they're looking through that library. What do they want to find? What do they want to grab? There might be a Merciless Eviction in there. Maybe not, though. Let's see what's found. What do they have? I'm kind of surprised by Big Goof. I did think it was going to be a lot more based on like life gain. We have seen a couple of those cards. They're going to go for a Swan Song. Not sure why they went for it that way, because this doesn't do anything. I guess they're getting rid of the Swan Song from Litha's deck, which is one way to do it, but nobody gets a bird. That was a little bit of a weird choice here, paying 4 mana to get rid of a Swan Song out of a deck. This is, you have to cast it right away. So I guess maybe they thought that they could use it whenever they wanted. Big Goof says hit the wrong one. Oh, okay, so it was a misclick. They had another card they wanted to actually hit instead. That's going to be a problem here. I don't know how badly this is going to affect us now. We're going to go use the Terramorphic Expanse. Go ahead and sacrifice this. And we're going to grab, like I said, a Snow-Covered Mountain just to be able to play to our out of finding Cabal Coffers and then doing some other stuff as well. Udvara Hellkite's not too bad. If we can find the mana for it, I'd like to play it down, but I don't think we're going to find that for a while here. Terramorphic Expanse, let's see what we've got. And if this game's not so great, that's fine. At the end of this video, I'll actually be doing a wrap-up for this season, talking about how well Kolaghan did, if it was a good deck, if it was a bad deck, why I think it was as good or as bad as it was, and maybe trying to figure out how to fix it up for the future. We've got a Mutavault coming down. Well, we'll go ahead and play it out of land at least. This attacked Mike Guns last time, so we don't have to worry about that Mutavault, I think. Let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can get down the Balefire Dragon. At the very worst, if they counter it, that puts another creature card into our graveyard for Oversold Cemetery. So, you know what? That's not too bad. We're going to tap all these lands for red. Tap that, tap this, and tap this one. Alright, getting down that card. It's something, right? It's nothing that great, but at least it's something. And if we get this down with the Rage Reflection, let's say they block with that Multani Yavamaya's Avatar. If they don't find other lands, which, let's be honest, they're Tatyova deck, they're going to find other lands, we can get that Balefire Dragon to deal damage to them. Especially if we can get down the Rage Reflection and our commander at the same time, then we're really talking. I mean, at that point, it's going to be really, really good. Let's see what Territorial Hellkite has to attack Big Goof this turn. They do have a blocker with this Fury Rogue. If I were them, I'd probably block with it, since they're probably trying to gain up in life total. But we don't really have a choice here. We've got to attack Big Goof. And Litha says, I'm not a big instant and sorcery person, so you won't find a whole lot in here, says Litha. Yep, not going to be super great for us. I'm hoping we'll find a way to get out of this pickle, because we are definitely in a pickle here. We are very, very vinegarized, and it makes me feel kind of sick. So what is Litha going to do? I mean, I'm hoping they've got something up their sleeves. I mean, they can go for the tutor ability from Sisay, double it up with the Rings of Brighthearth. Maybe that will allow them to find something to deal with this Multani. Yeah, Litha, if you can exile, it needs to be exiled. If you can exile Multani with your Sisay tutor ability, I can start attacking them again. So I'm hoping Mike Guns doesn't have an answer here. That Hangerback Walker dying, I mean, that is a problem. The Balefire Dragon, dealing damage to them in case the Multani goes away. If Balefire Dragon deals damage to them, then we can get rid of the Hangerback Walker, but that does mean that the Thopters come down. So that's, not exactly what we were hoping for. It gives them plenty of blockers to our strategy here. We do have the Steel Hellkite, which I guess means that if they don't block that card, then at the very least we can destroy all the Thopters. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Not sure what's going on. I guess with their Dovin Hand of Control, they were also able to kind of chain out those talismans, just paying 1 mana for each of them. So, not too bad. What's happening now, though? She might have... she might be going for that Sisay ability. It's up to 6 loyalty, so especially if they double it up, the first one can grab something, you know, intentionally being used to make Sisay Weatherlight Captain even bigger. And then use the second one to go for something that's even... It's going to be pretty good for them. If they grab a Nicol Bolas Planeswalker, they can actually steal the Multani. That's not bad either. So, let's see what they've got here available. They're going to go for Sorin Grim Nemesis. So, it's going to be able to make tokens eventually. Not sure how well this is going to help us here. So, they can go for that +1 and then double it up with the Rings of Bright Hearth. Got that 2 mana available. They also got plenty of mana available from other talismans. They could instead just go for the activated ability from the Sisay Weatherlight Captain and then go for that just right away. Maybe they're interested in using the Sorin to go for that +1 while also having Sisay Weatherlight Captain get a little bit bigger. Let's see what they find here. What did they grab? What did they do? -X here doesn't mean all that much because if they get rid of... So let's say they do this. They -6... targeting the Multani, and they double it with the Rings of Bright Hearth. In response, the Sakura Tribe Elder goes and fetches a land. Now it's a 13/13, so it's not going to matter. It's not going to do anything. Looks like Litha might be paying some life here. Ooh, going for the Yidris, Maelstrom Wielder. Does not have haste, thankfully, but once it attacks, it can do a lot of craziness. So let's see what happens with that Sorin. Do they go for the +1 and double it up with the Rings of Bright Hearth? I would think that's what they're going to go for. Let's see what we find here. If they decide to go for the -3, getting rid of the Hangerback Walker, again, they can respond by getting it a little bit bigger. They could go -4 to get rid of it. Did they already activate the Sorin? I don't think so. What's going on here? 4 mana. What is being played here? There's something nasty, for sure. Something that we don't want to see. What's the worst scenario? I don't even know. Cyclonic Rift. Alright, that's a pretty bad one. Alright, so Cyclonic Rift's going to go ahead and come down, returning all the non-land permanents that they don't control to their owner's hand. Yeah, so Mike Guns might be kind of sealing this game away. I don't know if there's anything else we can do about it at this point. Yeah. Even with the Territorial Hellkite, there's no point for us to play it down because there is an option we just swing it right into that Multani. Litha is up to 13 cards, so they're going to have to discard down, unfortunately. They're also going to put another counter onto the Hangerback Walker, giving it 4+1/+1 counters. Oh boy. Yep, this is not where we'd like to be. Not where we'd like to be at all. So next turn, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana available again to us. We might as well get down the Balefire Dragon. I mean, we can attack with the Mutavault, but they've got plenty of blockers here. And I'm not interested in attacking any of our allies at this point. Yep. Alright, this might be it. Might be game over for us. They're going to go and use the Sakura Tribe Elder, triggering the Tatyova. Yeah. Alright, well, you know, at least I can say I tried. I tried my very best, and it doesn't look like it's going to be doing much. So what does Mike Guns do on his turn? We'll have to wait and find out. They're down to 24 life, but they should be getting up higher in life total pretty soon. Especially if they draw into something like Boundless Realms. I mean, that one is just crazy with the Tatyova deck. So yeah, it might be over here, folks, unfortunately. But again, like I said, if you're interested in seeing how Dragon Lord Kolaghan did this whole season, so in the past 3 videos plus this video, at the very end, I will go over and wrap up talking about what I did right, what I did wrong, and figuring out from there. Mana Crypt going to go ahead and trigger. Hopefully they lose 3 life, going down to 21. Then again, I don't know how much it matters because we're not being able to deal that much damage to Mike anyways. Yep. Alright, Tatyova Benthic Druid going to go ahead and gain another life, draw another card, playing a land here. They've got Academy Ruins too, so they can use this right away, putting an artifact from their graveyard. They don't have any at the moment, but they can put artifacts from their graveyard on top of their deck and draw into it by playing a land. So That is going to be pretty bad. I can, but need her to have power of 8 or more. I don't know how much it matters here to let her know, to let Litha know that she could have doubled up on that ability, and that way the second one, the one that's on the bottom of the stack, you can use. Ooh, this gear per orrery. This one's pretty bad. No one has extra lands in the hand besides them, since they're doing all that card draw, and they're not going to be that likely to go down to 3 cards anyways. What do they discard here? They discarded 4 talismans and Yidris and Dovin Bond. Okay. So, that means they've got Sisay in their hand. They've got a couple of talismans. I remember they had 2. They've got that Mox Amber out there as well. So, let's see what Mike Guns does. Yep, a lot of mana available to them. Sylvan Awakening. They're turning all their lands into creatures. They can deal a lot of damage here. So, who are they most afraid of? Who are they most afraid of being able to kill them very quickly? I think the Dragon Control, the Dragon Aggro deck might be the answer here. So let's see where all these lands decide to attack. They're going to attack with a 15-15 over at Litha. So far, everything's going her way. Yeah, it might be game over for Litha here. Might be just down to Big Goof and ourselves. So yeah, it looks like everything's attacking over at Litha. All right, so this might be game over. Let's go ahead and start counting up some of this mana. So that's, or rather, some of this damage. 15 plus 7, that's 22. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So plus 14, that's, what is it, 34? So they're going to go ahead and send some extra creatures attacking over at Big Goof. None of them attacking at us, thankfully. But it looks like Mike Guns definitely sees Litha as a big threat, needs to get rid of her right away, and then Big Goof has to go as well. So, yeah, Litha is going to be out of the game here at -5. The Oloro is going to gain 2 life, going up to 31. Still higher life total than Mike Guns, but that makes us have the highest life total here. So what do we do next turn? Well, all of the creatures are tapped, so maybe this is our opportunity to draw into a board wipe. Board wipe would get rid of all their lands too. So it actually could work out for us if we can use this opportunity to win, or rather to just kill the creatures. If the board wipe costs enough mana, low enough mana, we can actually attack them with the Mutavault over at Mike Guns. So we'll see if this works out for them. They did kind of a risky play, turning all of their creatures. Oh, they all have indestructible. Never mind. Never mind. We'd have to draw. We have to draw into like a Toxic Deluge or something to make these have a lower power, so we can get around that indestructible. Yeah, that's a problem. Now, do these stay creatures? Let me see if they stay creatures. Until your next turn. Alright, they don't stay creatures. Alright, they've got a 4/4 Angel of Vitality. This is allowing them to gain some more life than normal. This is a pretty recent card, right? Yeah, M20. Ah, they didn't change that wording for if you have 25 or more life. Alright, well anyways, we're going to go ahead and draw a card. We draw into Berserker's Onslaught. So now the Toxic Deluge we were hoping to draw into. 7 mana. How many cards can I play? We're going to go and say GG as well to Litha here. We've got 7 mana. How many cards can I play out from my hand? Berserker's Onslaught and Oversouled Cemetery. That doesn't matter here. 4 mana, 6 mana. Let's just use all of our mana to go for a Balefire Dragon. Although I guess attacking them for 2 damage is something. We'll have 5 mana left over. We can go for... Well, we can go for Berserker's Onslaught, deal extra damage. That's not too bad. Let's do that here. Let's go 1, 2, and then all these cards for red mana. Getting down the Berserker's Onslaught, we're going to turn this into a creature. So turn this into a 2/2 with all abilities. And then we'll attack for 2 Double Strike. Yeah, why not? Begin combat, attack over at Mike Guns, putting them down to 20. Which is something, I mean, we're trying our best. We're trying our best here. After this, maybe we go for our commander and activate Mutavault, which is a little bit more damage. But even then, they're probably going to be able to kill us with this Multani and other creatures as well. Let me see here. They've got 22 damage on board. They can put us down to 2, or rather to 10. Big Goof they can put down to 11, but they've got plenty of life gain effects that they can, use to gain more life. So, I don't know here. I mean, this is... They could find something that could win them the game. Like, Craterhoof here could actually win them the game pretty quickly. They've got Multani getting a little bit bigger. They're going to play down the Breeding Pool. This will get the Multani up to 17 power. Yeah, I mean, this is rough for us because I don't think there's a way for us to get out of this situation. Tatyova has just snowballed from as early as turn 4 or turn 5. And now it's turn 8, and I don't think there's a way for us to get back past that, which I guess shows the power of Tatyova. That's why I would not be surprised if she gets banned. If she doesn't get banned, well, I guess, is it a he? I don't know. I don't know if Tatyova is a he or a she, but if Tatyova gets banned, I will not be surprised at all, because it is pretty scary. And we've seen it. It's very popular as well. Agent of Treachery coming down. Probably going to steal the Berserker's Onslaught, allowing them to double strike in with some more damage. Yeah, they're going to take the Berserker's Onslaught here. Can they kill all of us now? They can attack this Multani over at Big... Well, I guess they can attack us and then attack with everything else at Big Oof. Because they do have a blocker currently. They do currently have a blocker. Mike Gunn saying GG to Litha here. Yeah, if I were them, I'd be attacking the Multani over at us, taking us out. No, they're going to attack over at Big Oof. Do they have a way to deal with the Angel of Vitality? That's a big question here. They're going to attack for 14 over at us. Again, they've got to have a way to prevent the Angel of Vitality from blocking. Oh, it's got double strike and trample. So even if they block, they're still going to be at a pretty low life total. We're going to take the damage here. We're going to go down pretty low. Yep, going down to 25 and then down to... I'm surprised they didn't block here, because they could have totally blocked and survived. But Big Oof is out of the game at -1. We're at 18. I don't see us having a way to get out of this situation. Come on, baby, give us something good. Another mountain. We could go for Rage Reflection and attack with a Mutavault, which doesn't do much, because, again, they're going to attack us next turn. We need to have a blocker. Udvara Hellkite. We can get that down, but we can't attack with the Mutavault to create a token. Let's see here. 4 + 4. Let's go for 2 creatures here. We go for the Territorial Hellkite and the Fledgling Dragon. At least we've got a blocker that way, and we can, deal with some damage as well. So let's just do that. 1, 2, and then a couple of mana from some of these other cards here. So at least let's just block the Multani Yavimaya avatar. Well, actually, hold on a second. Cancel here. Cancel this. Does it even matter? I mean, maybe we want to keep up the Mutavault. We need to have 2 mana. It leaves us with 6 mana left over. We go for the Steel Hellkite. You know what? Let's do that instead. That leaves us, at least lets us have a little bit more mana to block with. So 1, 2, and then 3. So yeah, that's 7 damage to block with. There's not really a way for us to get more damage prevented here. They might have a counter spell. If they do, that's fine. I mean, there's not much that we can do about it anyways. Yeah, Arcane Denial. We're going to draw 2 cards at the beginning of our next end step. All right. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to survive here. Even blocking with the Mutavault on the Multani. I think the best thing we could draw into might be, one of our ways to destroy creatures. So, what's a good example? Maybe we draw into a Murderous Cut or something from the Arcane Denial. Yeah, I mean, I think they should have just let that resolve. They would have a lot more likely chance to win, because they probably just have plenty of ways to get lands out of their deck onto the battlefield, and that allows them to win with the Multani double striking, trampling over. Let's see if the Mana Crypt they failed at. They're going to draw an additional card, and then we're going to draw up to 2 cards. What's the worst thing they could play down here at instant speed in response? They can't play down the Alms Collector, because they don't actually have that in their colors. We will use the Arcane Denial's ability. We'll draw 2 cards. We draw into Scourge of the Throne and Bad River, so neither one of those cards is going to help us out in the situation. So I guess that's pretty much it. We are going to turn the Mutavault into a creature to try and prevent a little bit of damage. I guess the Hangerback Walker, I mean, it depends on how they attack. Whatever the biggest creature attacking is, we'll just block there. So, do they just attack with the Multani? Let's see how they decide to attack here. It's up to 1919 double strike thanks to our own Berserker's Onslaught. So, yeah, did not expect the Agent of Treachery here from the Multani deck, but it is a pretty good card too. Let's see what happens here. What's going on? They're going to attack with everything here. We're going to go ahead and respond by turning on the Mutavault. So Mutavault, going to turn that online. And then here, I think the biggest thing that we can block is the double striking Hangerback Walker. So at least we block there. We still will lose life as a result, but at the very least, you know what? We can't be overkilled, right? So we at least prevent a little bit of damage here and see what else they've got available to do here. We're going to go down to -6. My Guns wins the match. That was a good game. So we're going to go and jump into the wrap-up. So see you there. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about this season, talking about how Kolaghan the Storm's Fury did in the 4 videos that we went through. So, in the first episode, we played against Freyalise Llanowar's Fury, Omnath Locus of the Royal, and Grun the Lonely King. This first game we won. Second game we played against Ramos, Dragon Engine, Alila, Artful Provocateur, and Licha Sanguine Tribune. In the second game we lost to Alila. Third game, Alila here, played by Stephen McRory 420. So in the third game we played against Azusa, Lost But Seeking, Tatyova Benthic Druid, and the Dragon. Here in this third game we lost to the Dragon, played by the Hoodlum. And then obviously in this fourth game we played against Sisay Weatherlight Captain, Tatyova Benthic Druid, and Oloro Ageless Ascetic, losing it to Tatyova Benthic Druid, played by Mike Gunn. So out of these 4 games we only won just one of them. And I was looking back at some of these earlier games too. There was one of these games, and I'm pretty sure it's this second one here, where I wanted to go for a Blasphemous Act, and then I ended up not going for that, and I was worried that that would cause me to lose. I didn't actually lose to that. I lost to something totally unrelated. It wasn't that creature damage got in and killed me. Instead, it was that the Alila deck here had enough resources to go for Aetherflux Reservoir, cast a bunch of spells, and then win the game by doming me for 50 life. So overall, these 4 games, certainly an average result here for Kolaghan. Out of the 4 games, we were able to win 1. So not amazing. Certainly not like a 2 or 3 out of 4 games won here. But it's also not a horrible build. I think we're pretty close to what the ideal build for Kolaghan Dragon Tribal deck is. I think looking back, the changes that I would make would to not be including any dragons that would allow, would not have flying. I know when I first built the deck, I started off with 2, Mutavault and the Taurian Mauler. I had both of those in the deck, and I think after this I'm probably going to take those out because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think those 2 being in the deck, not that great. The other thing I think was a big issue is a lot of times those dragons come down and they make our opponents use a lot of board wipe. So I think the deck needs to have a lot more fervor effects. And I'm noticing this kind of over and over and over. No matter what deck I play, if it is a creature-based deck, it's almost like every time I play, fervor effects are just really important. So it's almost coming down to the point where I think, any creature combat-based deck, a fervor effect is going to be super necessary, which means that a Kismet effect, where you're making opponents' creatures enter the battlefield tapped, those actually might be a way to get around those fervor effects too. So now there's like another layer that I'm thinking about with Commander games where fervor effects are just really important, and not having them is really going to impact the deck very, very poorly. Unless you're playing like something like Voltron, where you kind of need to wait to put a bunch of stuff onto that Voltron anyways. In that case, obviously haste doesn't really matter. But when you're playing a creature-based deck, you've got dragons, you've got infect creatures, whatever it is, haste feels like it's really important and really necessary. So other than that, though, I think the deck's pretty close. I think the only thing I would change is I would include a lot more fervor effects, trying to get those down earlier on, and then the dragons can come out and go right to attacking right off the bat. So that's pretty much it. That's all I got to say about Dragon Tribal played by Kolaghan the Storm's Fury. I had a lot of fun with this entire season. I hope you had fun watching me play this deck and winning in the first game. The other 3 games, I didn't win, unfortunately, but that's just how it goes with Commander. If you don't want to lose most of the games, then playing with 3 other players, probably not the game for you. But I had a lot of fun. I hope you did as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of The Bloodhall. Stay awesome.